What's going on? Welcome to our channel, Naughty Life. My name is Alex, and my wife Jill and I do fishing, boating videos, everything to do on and off the water here in Southwest Florida. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We're not out fishing, we're not on the boat. We're actually in the office, and we've put together our top 4 favorite fishing knots that we think every angler should be using. So whether you're an experienced fisherman or you're brand new to the sport, these are the 4 that we are using 9 out of 10 times that we're out on the water. Of course, there's thousands of different knots, hundreds of different ways to tie them. These are just the ones that we're primarily using and that we wanted to share with you. If you've got a different way of tying it, comment below. Of course, there's always different ways of doing stuff, and we're not experts by any means. Now, for each of these knots, we're gonna go through it twice. The first time I'm gonna walk through it step by step, and the second time I'm just gonna do it real time tying the knot. I found that when I was learning how to tie these knots that I preferred not hearing the step-by-step and just watching someone else do it. Everybody learns differently, so we're gonna do it both ways so that you've got 2 different options, and we'll mark everything in chapters below. So if you're only looking for a how-to on one of these knots, go ahead and jump through the chapters down below. We're also including a bonus 5th knot here at the end, so make sure you stick around all the way to the end of the video and see that bonus knot. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, it's super great to see you. Hope you're having an awesome day. If you're new here, consider giving us a follow. It's free for you to do. It helps the channel out a ton. We've got lots of cool tips and tricks videos like the one you're currently watching that we're planning to put out, as well as lots of on the water content and adventures that we'd love to bring you along with. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, comment. We'd love to know where you're coming from. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and get right into this video. So before we get into the first knot, one point of clarification. We're gonna be using 80-pound braid in this gigantic hook just for demonstration purposes to make it easy for you all to see the knots that we're tying. But it's very rare that in saltwater fishing, really any fishing, you'd be tying your main braid directly to a hook or a lure. We suggest when you're doing any type of saltwater fishing, even if it's open waters, but particularly when you're around structure, to use some type of either a mono or a fluorocarbon leader. We use anywhere from 3 to 4 feet. We tie this directly to our main braid with an FG knot, which we're going to show you as a bonus at the end of this video. And what that does is it allows you to have a little bit more abrasion resistance when it comes to your line. Now, braid is really strong. It's got really strong pull strength, so nothing's going to really break it if you pull it from 2 ends, but it's not very abrasion resistant. So if you're fishing near pilings that have barnacles, or some of these saltwater fish like snook have really sharp gill plates, once this braid's under tension and it catches that abrasive surface, it's gonna snap right away. So that's why I would use either a mono or a fluorocarbon leader. We're not gonna get into the specifics on when to use mono, when to use fluoro, or which line weight to use. We'll save that for another video. But again, we'd always be tying our hook or lure to one of our leader lines, and that's gonna allow you to get more fish in the boat, and it's gonna be less likely that you're gonna break off. Also, we've got 2 different brands here. Trickfish is really inexpensive. This is 50 yards of 30-pound test. It was like $6 at Bass Pro. This is the Cigar Blue Label. It's 20 pounds, 25 yards, and it's about 15 bucks. So, considerably more expensive. If it's just me on the boat, I'll typically reach for the Cigar. If we've got a lot of people fishing, I'll have a couple of these and a couple different pound tests laying around the boat for when people need to tie new leaders. But I can't really say that one is better than the other. I've not lost any more fish with this than I have with the Cigar. You just got to kind of play around with ones until you find the ones that you like. So we'll put both of these in the description down below in case you want to pick some up. With that, let's get into the first knot. All right, so the first and probably easiest knot we're gonna tie today is the clinch knot. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take your line, you're gonna feed it through the eye of the hook or the lure. You're gonna take your tag end, you're going to wrap it around your main line. Now, if you're using a heavier leader, I'd say over 15 pounds, you really only need to wrap this about 4 to 6 times. If you're using a lighter line, you can wrap it anywhere from 8 to 10 times. So we're just gonna wrap this around 5 times. So you can see here, you've got the line wrapped. And you'll notice that you've now created this loop here by the eye of the hook. All you're going to do then is take your tag end, come through that loop that was created by the eye of the hook, and then pull down. And if you see here, you're going to get that nice clinch down straight to the eye of the hook. From there, you just need to clip your tag end and you are ready to fish. Now this is a great beginner knot, not as strong as the other knots that we're gonna go into, but this will suffice if you're doing some light fishing, maybe going after some bait. It'll hold really well. If you are going after some larger fish, we're gonna get into a couple other knots that would be better suited, but this is a perfect beginner knot, one to keep in your back pocket if you're just trying to switch out lures or hooks really, really quickly. All right, so the next knot we're going to tie is the improved clinch knot. Now this is very similar to the first knot that we tied with one additional step. Similar to the first one, we're going to take our line, feed it through the hook. We're going to then take our tag end and we're going to wrap it 5 times around our line. Next, we're going to take the tag end and we're going to come through this first loop that we created. So far it's exactly the same. Now this is where it's going to get different. Now once you get your tag end through this first loop, you'll see that you've then created a second loop up here at the top. So I'll do that one more time for you. Here's your tag end. You're coming through this loop here and you've created now this second loop at the top. You're simply going to take that tag end, come back through that loop that you created there, and then as you'll see here, you can cinch it down and it'll pull straight down to the eye of the hook nice and clean. Go ahead and clip your tag end as usual and you are ready to fish. All right, so the third knot we're going to tie is one of my favorites. It's the Palomar knot. Now this is great for tying your leader line to a hook, but it's also useful if you're using a swivel and you're tying your braid to that swivel. So with this one, same as the others, we're going to take our tag end, feed it through the back of the eye of the hook. Now what you're going to want to do is make sure you pull about 12 to 18 inches through, because what we're going to then do is take that tag end and come back through the front of the eye of the hook. And so you want to see something like this where you've got this loop created on the left side and then your tag end and your main line is on this side. The next step is we're going to take this looped end from the left and you're going to come down and around and pinch it with your right thumb and index finger. So I'll do that one more time. You take this loop end, you come down, around, pinch it with your right thumb and index finger and create this loop here. The next step is we're going to create an overhand knot by taking this looped end, coming through the loop we created and pulling it. So you can see we've got an overhand knot basically right there. The last step is to take the hook and come up and through that loop you created. Now what that's going to do is as you pull it down, that loop is going to cinch down on all of those pieces of your line, and if you do it properly, you'll actually see in there you've got two pieces wrapping around that hook. So this is a very, very strong knot. Again, one of our favorite knots to use, and it's a little bit more difficult, especially, you know, trying to get that hook through that final loop. But once you get it done, this is a very, very strong knot, super versatile. Again, one of our favorite knots to use every time we're out fishing. All right, so the last knot we're going to tie here before we get to the bonus is the non-slip loop knot. Now this is a great knot if you're using a top water lure and you want a little bit of play in the line and you don't want the knot cinched directly to the eye of the hook or the lure. This is also really good for when you're using live bait and you want that bait to be able to swim around a little bit more freely. So with this, we're going to start by actually tying just a simple overhand knot on our main line. So it'll look something just like that. Then we'll take the tag end and come through the eye of the hook. Once we've come through there, you're going to take your tag end, come up through the bottom of this loop and pull that loop all the way down to the eye of the hook. Now, it's easiest if you pinch this loop here with your left hand just because it'll prevent it from slipping. Next, you're going to wrap your tag end around your main line about 2 to 3 times. And then lastly, you'll take your tag end and come through the top of that loop that you created. Now what that's going to do is when you cinch this knot down, is it's going to cause the knot to cinch down further up on the line and not on the eye of the hook. So if you look, you've got this nice loop which allows this hook and this fish to move around a little bit more freely. Now one way to know that you've tied this knot correctly is that your tag end will actually be going in the direction towards the hook, which is important because if you're fishing any seagrass or near any seaweed, by having this tag end going down towards the hook, it's going to give you a lot less of a chance of getting caught down in the weeds. All right, so for the bonus knot, we are tying the FG knot. And this is our favorite knot when we're tying braided line to a mono or fluorocarbon leader. Now there's lots of different ways to tie this knot. This just so happens to be the best one that we found. So you're gonna start by taking your main line, which is coming from your fishing pole, pull out a couple of feet so you've got plenty of slack to play with. And you're gonna take it and you're going to wrap the tag end several times around your dominant hand, pinky finger. And what that's going to allow you to do is put tension then on this main line. That's really important when tying this knot, and by doing it this way, it prevents you from having to put it up in your teeth. Next, you're going to take your leader line, come over the top, and do one single wrap around your braid. So as you can see here, you basically have this cross created. You got your braid coming down and your leader coming across. Now this next step is really easy, and once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple in terms of tying this knot. All you're gonna do is basically take your leader tag end and work it up over the top of your braid and straight, and then come over the top and down, and basically just crisscross it along your braid. So up, then over and down, over the top, over the bottom, and coming straight every time, over the top, over the bottom. And as you can see, you're creating this weave basically between your braid and your leader line. And we like to do it about 10 to 15 times. And then once you have something that looks kind of like that, you'll go ahead and you'll take your left hand or your non-dominant hand, you'll pinch right above the top of the knot, unravel the tag end of the braid from your dominant hand pinky finger, and you're going to finish this off by tying 2 half hitches. So 1, and I'll do that again. Basically, you're taking your braid, you're coming over the top. Make sure you're wrapping it around your mono or your fluoro leader and your main line, and then coming through and doing a second hitch. And that's all it takes. Pull it tight so that you can make sure that your braid digs into your mono. Cut your tag end. And there you have it. There is an FG knot, which is our favorite and strongest knot to tie your braid directly to your mono. Alright, so that's going to wrap up this video. We hope you enjoyed. We hope that these were helpful tips to tying some of these knots. If you've got any questions, or if you've got other knots you'd like us to go through, drop us a comment below. Again, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel out a ton. With that being said, life's short, live naughty. We'll catch you in the next one.